We can get into the big geopolitics, but I want to ask you a little bit about Mohammed bin Salman himself, because, he has been one of the most controversial, provocative figures on the geopolitical stage globally. And some of that has been revolutionary in a positive sense. Some of that has been revolutionary in a very negative sense. How do you make sense of that from a global perspective?
So, look, he represents a phenomenon that we see in other countries as well. A very strong nationalist populism, a strong authoritarian streak. We see this in India, we see this in Turkey, and other places, as you well know. But in his case, I think what's happened is that he really had to consolidate his power and centralize his power. In order to do that, he's had to emasculate large numbers of the royal family, including the key individual that was America's favorite, that is his cousin, Mohammed bin Nayef, who is, the darling of the CIA and British intelligence and every other Western intelligence agency.
And then was under house arrest for, years, right?
He's had his wings clipped. Okay, let's put that, putting it politely. And many others have as well. He's also had to completely and radically change the business as usual in the country, which involved a tremendous amount of corruption and stealing from the treasury, from elites, including members of the royal family. He's had to also emasculate the very reactionary forces in the country, the Islamists, the hardcore Islamists, who are the only ones who can mobilize large numbers of people in the streets against him. So that consolidation effort was extremely brutal and messy at times, and it involved, of course, the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. I think now all of that is pretty much in the past. He's very much in power and will become the king unless he's assassinated. So he can rest a bit easier.
I guess you could argue that even though there weren't many concrete accomplishments from the meeting, that the Saudis are moving in a direction broadly that is more aligned with U.S. national interests, both in the region and more broadly in terms of the countries that they engage with. And so, to the extent that's the case, you would expect that there would be a warming of relations between the two countries.
Yeah, I think the Saudis are a status quo power. They're not a revolutionary power like Iran is. They're very keen on stability in the region. And this has very concrete implications. So right now, for instance, as you know, the price of wheat and barley and so on has gone through the roof because of the war in Ukraine. So what the Saudis are willing and able to do, alongside the other GCC countries, is to give money, lots of money, to the Egyptians and to the Jordanians and to the Sudanese and other countries that need money to buy foodstuffs to feed their own people, including Yemen, by the way. And so the single largest threat to stability in the region are bread riots across the region. And this is where the Saudis can play a hugely important role in subsidizing the food because bread is subsidized in these countries. So I think the Saudis are on the same page with the Americans here. And this meeting basically puts a lot of the kind of virtue signaling that was going on before over values and human rights. It basically puts an end to it and says, look, we have core strategic interests in this region. This country is really important for the United States. We have to go back to business as usual.